The journey of self-discovery is being willing to authentically ask yourself the question and to hell with what everybody else thinks.
Welcome back to the podcast. It's a journey worth traveling. And my name is Catherine, storytelling, and just taking y'all on these trips. It's absolutely a joy of mine. J. Crew, thank you for coming back and rocking with me for another episode. How's your week been? Has it been good? I really hope it has. And now I hope that you are ready to head back over to this island of self-discovery. So part one, it was all about the why of self-discovery. Why is self-discovery important? And now this episode is all about the how. So I am looking forward to you collecting even more souvenirs. Now, without further ado, let's head back over for part two. Okay, I'm committed now. I'm committed to the journey of self-exploration. Miesha, where am I starting? Like, what does that look like?
Wow. It starts with asking yourself, who am I? And trudging through the answers to those questions. Like when you ask me, who is Miesha? There's a bit of a heartbeat that raises, my blood pressure goes up a little bit. Because when we talk about ourselves, we're exposing ourselves. It's a very vulnerable space. I am this. If the people don't associate with that, if they don't connect with that, then that puts me at a disadvantage if I'm worried about what other people think. Part of the journey of self-discovery is being willing to authentically ask yourself the question and to hell with what everybody else thinks. It has to start there because else we make moves. Well, so-and-so's not going to like this. This is not a good time for them. If I go out of town, if I try and do this, what do you want? Who are you? And if who you are and what you want are vastly separate from each other, how?
Yeah, how we merge it.
How we merge it.
Yeah.
And it begins with simple steps. How did I get to where I am? Mm-hmm. How do I get to where I'm going? Is there anybody that is in the place where I'm trying to go? If I'm trying to be CEO of my own company as a Black woman, do I know any other CEO Black women that I can talk to? How'd you get there? If someone is at peace, every time I see them, they're smiling. Every time I see them, they're not in a rush. Ask them, how did you get there? Why does it seem like you always have so much peace around you? And then listen. Listen, you can't know what you don't know. And you can't know if you're unwilling to listen to the person who does know. And again, you have to discover what that looks like for yourself. There are going to be people, well, I did this and I did this. And it's like, I'm so glad that worked for you. That's not going to work for me. And that's okay. Move on to the next one. But being committed to that journey and being willing to step out of your comfort zone. What are the barriers I've had to erect to keep myself safe and protected with where I am? Because those barriers that have protected us are also those barriers that hinder us from going someplace else.
Come on. Tell us. Give us a word.
And so when we want to figure out, how do I figure out who I am? Look at who's around you. Look at what is pouring into you. Look at what you listen to.
What your set look like.
What your set
look like.
What your
set look like. One of the homework assignments my therapist gave me, which I think was such a great exercise in terms of like self-exploration. She said, I want you to find 3 people and I want you to ask them what are 3 of your best qualities and like where are those areas of improvement. So here's what I found out. If you do this exercise for self, let me kind of just give my 2 disclaimers. Please find people who are on the path of self-discovery as well, who you look up to or who you align with, who you track with in that way. The last thing you want to do is to ask people who don't know themselves. So I would say that's the first one. And then find people who you know genuinely care about you, that don't have an agenda when they're about to give you the answers to those questions. That would be my 2 disclaimers. You got any disclaimers?
To kind of track alongside that, the people that authentically celebrate you. When something good happens,
yes,
they don't have okay, but look out for. They are like genuinely.
They are championing you.
Happy for you.
Yes.
And asking when the next one is coming. Because people, you can see who operates out of faith and fear in that area.
Yeah.
I think the other disclaimer, if you do decide to do this activity, and if you do, I would love to hear the responses from people.
Yes, please. We want to know. DM us, email us. Yes, we want to know. We want to know.
Definitely want to know. But another thing is to listen to what they aren't saying. Okay. And what I mean by that is, again, we have assumptions of what people perceive about us. That's why this is a really great activity, because we listen to the actual voice and not the voice that we've created of people in our mind. So, they're probably going to speak about this. Listen to what they haven't said. And then see what you thought they would say, how it contrasts or compares to what they've actually said. That also can help you to see what type of relationship you have with that person. If your assumption is they probably going to say, I need to work on this, this, and this, then where in that relationship did that narrative become core to that part of that relationship that you have with that person? If they probably gonna say I'm lazy. They didn't say anything about lazy. Where did I get that from? Why did I place that assumption on that person for me?
For myself.
For myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So here were a couple of my little revelations through this exercise. One of the things, this was clutch for me. I realized a lot of my best attributes, the things that are my greatest characteristics, can also be the things that are not serving me at times. They can be working to my detriment. Case in point. Okay. My mom's like, Kat, you know, you're a very determined person. And I am. I am very, like I said, I know how to endure. And I think having determination and being able to endure, like the way that it has allowed me to not stop and not settle in life, that's everything for me. And I know that's what helps me get through, you know, like we came into you know the journey of this podcast. I mean, just the way like it started, it was like, okay, it's gonna be an audio and then it's gonna be a video. Okay, I live in Chicago, but no, let's film in Detroit. Okay, let's build out a studio. Okay, now we got mode in the studio. You know, like just all these different, it was one thing after another. But for me, it was like, okay, these are all beautiful problems to have. And girl, you know how to endure, you know how to, you know what I'm saying, like keep things moving. You're a fighter, so we just gonna keep fighting through. And so it's one of the things that I absolutely love about myself. But here's where it almost got me. It puts me in some really unsafe spaces. So when I got carjacked, here I am. There's this guy who witnessed the carjacking, and he pulls up, and he was like, "Do you want to go get him?" And you know me, I'm like,
let's go.
Ride
or die.
Let's
Literally,
go.
Ride or die.
Exactly. I'm like, yes, okay, let's go. So we get into, you know, I get into this man's car. I don't know this man from Adam. This man could have been a part of the setup. Mm-hmm. Not only am I getting carjacked, but now I'm getting sex trafficked and all this kind of stuff. But I didn't care at that time. Like, my determination was, I gotta get back control of this situation. I felt so out of control. There's all these things that are now taken from me, you know, like my safety. I had to feel like I got some kind of vengeance. I don't know where we was going. I don't know what we was going. If we caught up with him, I don't know what we was going to do. Was I going to like fly into the car? I don't know. I mean, I did try that at the first, but anyway, but it was just like in that, I'm not thinking, like all I am, I'm not thinking about what's in my best interest, because there's no way that getting in a car with a perfect stranger was in my best interest, but I was just determined. I was determined. So that's an area where it works for me, but depending on what I'm attaching it to, it could be working against me.
Yes.
Another thing, I like to have control over stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think control is a bad thing. What do you think, Miesha?
Control is not a bad thing.
Okay.
When we are able to be in control of the things that we have actual control over. It's when we try and control everything.
Yeah.
That we run into some problems.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, Kat, you know what you can control? You can control your thoughts. And that's what you should be controlling. You should be controlling your day, because it's getting all out of the way. You should not be controlling, to your point, the things that have absolutely nothing to do with you, or the things that you need to just be surrendering to. I'm also an all-in kind of person. I'm all in. And so, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with being all in. It's just, what are you attaching yourself to when you're all in? What are you all into?
Listen, because case in point, the movie The Titanic, there's this scene, the boat is going down. There's this scene when the musicians decide we're going down with the boat. Now, in my mind, I'm like...
That wasn't you.
That was not me. Okay, first of all, we weren't even allowed on the boat, but that's a whole nother subject. But they had already resigned that was it. Mm-hmm. They had already resigned that was it. They were all in. They were going down with the boat. They were going to have this melodious end to their life. Great. Me, I would have been with all of them other people trying to find a way out until it is at the end. And sometimes being all in, means we go down with the ship. We go down with the ship, and we call that faithful. We call that committed. I'm your ride or die. It's whatever, through the fire, through the flood. Do you know what it means to go through fire and flood?
So we shouldn't be ride and die. Is that what you're telling me?
Ride or die, but ride or die wisely. Okay.
Okay. I like that. Thank you for that disclaimer, because I really do pride myself on being a ride or die. Like, that is me. As me through and through. But okay, I like that. I like that comma. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
With wisdom and with anything with wisdom. Again, if there's an associate sitting on the couch and he like, we don't have no money, let's go down to Chase Bank and see if we can rob it. Are you ride or die? No, sir, ma'am, I am not.
That's when I will exit stage left. Yes.
Y'all do what y'all gonna do. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't benefit me. It's too great of a risk. Mm-hmm. But there are things that we apply risk to that are actually contribute to our desire for control and comfort that hinder us from experiencing and discovering who we are.
Yeah. J. Crew, if you are enjoying this trip and you have not already, I would love for you to like and subscribe so that you never miss a trip and we can continue to grow our community. Now, back to this trip. So the exercise that you gave me, have you done this for yourself?
I have.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to share? Was there any key revelations for you in that exercise?
Oh, absolutely.
We know wanted to.
One of them is that I am a people pleaser. I think it's something that's also heavily attributed to those that identify with Enneagram 9s. They like to keep the peace. If it's going to rock the boat, if people are debating where we gonna eat, I honestly don't care, because I'm just hungry. Yeah. And whatever is going to move the process along is what I'm going to vote for. But that often means that people don't really know who I am. I can find something I'm a great chameleon. I can find a way I can fit into almost anything, but is it what I really want? And if it means that there's peace among the people group, and I aim to want everybody to be happy and to be at peace, I'm willing to sacrifice myself and my own genuine wants and desires if it's for the greater good of the group. If I'm saying no to something, I want to explain why I'm saying no, because I don't want you to be disappointed in me. versus just saying no because it's no. Can we meet up? No, I really wish I could, blah, blah, blah. No, actually, I just don't have the time. And that's okay. And even if someone is like, man, you'll never have time to meet up. Okay, that doesn't speak to anything about who I am. I don't have to. Now I got to try and make it better. And I had to learn how to recalibrate myself and say, that is not who I am. I am not the one that needs to be yes to everybody else, and I'm a no to myself. I had to learn how to say yes to myself. And even when titles like selfish, self-serving were tossed around by, let's say it, people who did not know me, and yet their words were so impactful to me, I had to learn to say, they can say it, they can even have a crowd following for it, but it's not who I am, and I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, they're not giving me no money. They're not providing any of the things that I need for myself. I'm doing pretty damn well myself. I don't need their validation. I don't need their acceptance. I accept me. And that was something that, even to this day, I still have to wrestle with. It's a continuous process because I'm continually evolving and growing into who I'm meant to be in this season to prepare myself for the season that is to come.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I so love that. I so love that. I definitely track with you on that. But like you said, like, because you know who you are, like, that's always going to guide you back. So it's like, I don't care how this person may perceive me because I know the truth about myself. Like, self-discovery is all about getting to know you and all about getting to know the truth of who you are, so that when somebody comes in and tries to sway you against who you really are, you're able to be like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not me. So it doesn't even bother me. You know, I can quickly go to the art of not giving a fuck because that's not me. You know, it's not. And I'm not going to allow for your perception or your projection to impact me in a way that is now making me take a step back from who I am.
Absolutely. But let me also say that was a pivotal moment, because there was a time when the things that people said, the things people projected, I took as law.
Yeah.
I took as, okay, all right, so I talk too much. All right, so I need to learn how to be more quiet. I need to learn, and I would allow these words, these hurtful words at times, to really influence how I chose to live my life. Again, the defining moment for me was the breakup of my engagement. I was like, okay, I'm engaged, I'm set, I'm good. Someone loves me, I'm worthy enough, I put in that good work, great. That fell apart. I didn't know who I was. What do you mean this isn't what we're going to do? I thought, and so I had to become to a very real place, a very low place, that I put in all this work to be something and that's still not good enough. I can't. I can't. And yeah, there was a lot of crying and there was a lot of, I've never been one for the drama, but for a moment,
you permitted
I was like,
yourself.
I might want to ride through just to see if something can happen, just for a moment. But then I said, no. Again, the ride or die. I want to ride, not die. Okay, so I just roll past that.
I'm glad you know that. I'm glad you know that. Me, it was a little touch and go there, but yeah.
There are a few days. Okay, listen, we'll just leave it right there. But it's at that pivotal moment, that crossroad. Do I continue to try and live as other people tell me I should? Or do I now go into this untraveled road and figure out, who the hell am I? If you travel down a dirt road, there's a path that has been ingrained into the dirt road.
Yeah.
You know, your tires kind of naturally go into the rivets there. But when you're creating a new path, you have to very intentionally, very forcefully go out of what has already been established to create something new. And there are times you'll slip right back in because it's so deeply ingrained. This new path, it's not familiar. You've got to go over it a few times in order for it to develop its own path. Right. And you'll slip back into there and you have to say, okay, wait. I'm trying. Yes, what they said has hurt me. And their words, it cut deep. They're triggering. They're reminding me of what I've been in. But I have to remind myself, that doesn't define me. Who I'm married to doesn't define me, doesn't give me worth. Who I'm connected to and who I choose to be connected to is based on who I am and not on what I hope results in this relationship. I have to be in relationship with myself, love myself.
Love myself.
In order to invite someone else to love me. I can't invite someone to do something I don't know how to do myself. Love me. How? How? Do you know how to love yourself? No. Then how is someone else going to love you? How do you know when it's love? You have to figure that out for yourself first, because then when the foolishness comes, even if you're committed, even if you're very hopeful, you also know this is not who I am. It's that dissonance again. I'm not in line with who I am. Something has to change. And let me tell you, it won't be me.
Yeah. It reminds me of, and this is something I stand on, and what my LCA was all about, because my cup at that point, after everything had happened, it was just like, after I had hit that valley, the lowest valley, and my cup was empty, it was all about me filling up my cup. But I think that is something that's not a one and done type of thing, right? Like, and it is our responsibility to fill up our cup. It is Kat's responsibility to fill up Kat's cup. It's not Miesha responsibility to fill up my cup. It is my responsibility to fill up my cup. What you give me is overflow. And I appreciate the overflow, but it is my responsibility to fill up my cup that way. And that's all about self-discovery, self-awareness, self-love, self-care, self-growth, all of those things. That is me filling up my cup.
But what you filling it with?
What you filling it with? I would like to think that I am intentional about filling it up with good stuff. But yes, but what are you filling it? What you filling it up with? What is feeding you? What is fueling you? So with that being said, what does our set look like? Miesha, what does our set need to look like? What does our mindset need to look like?
It really depends on where you're trying to go. We can arrive at an airport, but there are planes going all over the place. So identifying where is it that we want to go. Finding people who have already gone there. If there's someone who, again, going back to an earlier part of our conversation, you notice that someone just always seems to have peace. And that's something that you want. Going to them, humbling oneself and saying, how did you get there? What did that take and what did that look like? Being honest with yourself with where you're coming from.
Ooh, I love that. Being honest with yourself.
And again, that comes with taking off that mask that we've become so accustomed to erecting so that other people would see the version of ourselves that we think is most acceptable with the world around us. When we're honest and when we're able to be honest with ourselves, with where we are coming from, where we authentically are, then we can say, okay, I need this. Being vulnerable and saying, I need help in this area. That's hard for us to do because everyone's supposed to magically already have it figured out. I work with students at a university level, and they come in first year of undergrad, and they expect in 4 years, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to get this awesome paying job where I'm making over 6 figures, and I'm going to be at peace, and I'm going to have everything that I want. And then that first exam, they fail. Life is over. And I invite them to come and speak with me, and I say, okay, so let's talk about what happened. I did everything that I was supposed to do. Did we? Let's talk about what happened. Oh, we didn't study because in high school we didn't have to study. It just came naturally to us. But in college, they tell you that you need to study, and you're like, oh, I don't need to study. I got this. And then you figure out, oh, I actually need to study. Well, I don't know how to study. Oh, so you need help studying. Okay, well, let's find a tutor. Okay, well, that tutor doesn't fit. Well, let's find another one that does fit. When we talk about self-discovery in our own lives, there are going to be people that help us. This is not a solo journey, even though it's a journey that only you can take. I hope that sounds very contradictory, but I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wonderful opportunity to meet different people along the way, to figure out who's in your set and who's around you. And then when you are authentic with yourself, honest and vulnerable about where you're coming from, then you can figure out first what you need to clean up before we move on. If I go shopping, if I go out of town, there's usually a bag that I keep that's empty to carry all of the things that I'm bringing from where I've gone. If not, I need to then throw some other things away because I can't take it all with me. And realizing I can't take it all with me.
She did that. She did that for me. When we I was right before I went on my LCA. This is one of the amazing things about just having a therapist because it's purposeful dialogue. And the questions that Miesha be throwing out there for you to sit with, like, listen, people, I be having to give her credit because people are like, whoa. And I was like, no. I can't take credit. I can't take credit for that. That's already trademarked by Miss Miesha White. So I be having to give credit. But like to your point, so as I'm about to go on this LCA, this life-changing adventure. I didn't know it was life-changing at the time. I just knew my cup was dry and it needed to be filled. But I was intentional about wanting to self-explore and God explore and people explore and everything like that. She said to me, she said, Kat, okay, so what are you going to take with you? You know what you're looking to get out of this trip. If that is a goal, what do we have to take with us? And that was good. That was real good, because it gets you thinking, okay, what do I need to take with me? Then she hit me with, and what do you need to leave behind? Mm-hmm. That was it for me. Because so many times we think about how we're going to pack for this trip. But better yet, what do I need to ensure I don't pack so I can have the experience of a lifetime? Mm-hmm. That was money for me.
And also the people that go with us. Let's take the travel again. There's certain people
You can't travel with Miesha.
I'll meet you there. We can meet up.
Come on.
Go out to dinner perhaps. But traveling together, no ma'am, no sir. Because that's going to interrupt my peace. And there's some people that we feel an obligation to take with us. They've been with me since day one, but it's day 365. Let them be your day one. And make room for the people that are going to be with you as you continue on this journey. And again, that's again about trying to keep the peace for the sake of other people. This is something that I really resonate with because, again, somebody, but I really want to do this. I really think we should do this. I don't want tension. And so usually it really doesn't matter to me. So I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But the minute I step into a situation and I recognize that it's not going to benefit my peace or it's going to definitely hinder or impede on my peace, I'm out. I have to be out because I can't trust you to worry about me and my peace. You're out here doing what it is that you want to do, and more power to you. I hope you have all the fun that you need. But as for me and mine, no.
I got to fill up my cup.
My cup with the things that I know that I need. Because if I fill it up with vodka, at some point in time, I need water. And if the friends I'm with is always pouring vodka into my cup until I'm just tipsy toasty on the floor.
Okay.
I can't blame anybody. Why don't y'all give me any water? I'm not responsible for you quenching your thirst. I can only offer you what I got. And if all I got is vodka and you ask me for it, that's what I'm going to give you. But where are the people that's going to give you water?
Where are the people going to give you water? Yes. I want to piggyback off of that with my accountability partner. She sent me this this really great clip. And it was just saying, the guy was speaking to how like your day ones, those are the people who, They've been with you and they've been through some stuff with you, but generally those people they've been in most of your seasons of survival. Your day twos are the people who you're more intentionally choosing, and being able to intentionally choose those people, you're in a whole different season.
When you think about like people who have been in the military and they get around the military people, they've been through something.
Yeah.
But when they get together, what do they talk about? They will say, how's it going? How are the kids? How's the wife or the husband, the grandkids, whatever the case may be. But they'll go back. You remember when we were in Kuwait? You go back to that place that bonded you together. And your day ones are people that by circumstance, like you said, like they have been with you through survival modes. That's what you tend to talk about. You remember when we didn't have no money? Everybody put all of their change together and we walked to the corner store and everybody was able to get one 25-cent bag of chips and then one Capri Sun, and then we walked back to the neighborhood park, and wow, those are some good times. But that can't be what we do now. That can't be what we do now. Now is, wow, remember when we went to that conference? And we were sitting there and we were talking, or you were speaking, and I was able to go to that grand opening. Remember that. We create new narratives. What's the story you're telling? When you meet with people, and when people ask you, who are you? What's going on in your life? Who is Catherine? What's the story that you tell so that people can get to know you? And it really does depend on who you're talking to. If I'm on an interview, I'm not about to tell them, well, my engagement broke up they don't need to know that. That's not the time for that conversation. But when I'm talking with someone who's considering being my significant other, tell me about your past relationships. Now's the time to tell that story. Who am I around? What story am I telling? And how is that aiding me in where it is I'm trying to go? People talking about, oh, well, I got to hook up with somebody on Tinder. I'm not talking about marriage. They're not thinking about marriage. What is the purpose? Where are we trying to go? You trying to go to the motel. I'm trying to get to the White House. We are not the same.
We not tracking.
And that's okay. But it's when you yield your growth for the sake of waiting on somebody else to come up. He got the potential, and potential it is.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But he may not move at a pace that you are trying to move. Again, we got to get to the airport. The taxi or the Uber is outside. And you talking about, let me jump in the shower real quick. We're not going to make it.
We're not making it.
And at some point we have to decide, well, I wish you the best. And again, who are we connected with? Because if it's my child, I'm not going to be like, all right, child, well, I'll see you on the flip side. Right. I got a responsibility there. But if it's just me and mine,
yeah,
I have a responsibility for me.
Absolutely. So you said that like one of your personal revelations in this particular exercise that you did was where you discovered, okay, like I have a habit of people pleasing. And then you also shared just listening to other people's narratives of you because you don't necessarily know self in that moment or in that space. And now you're on this exploration, this journey of self-discovering. But there's obviously there's this unthreading process that now has to happen. So what are the tools? What are the protocols? What are the mechanisms that are going to best suit us? What is your unthreading process? What did Miesha have to tell to Miesha?
Wow. Well, that is actually also a pivotal point in when I got really heavy in my faith. Okay. I needed something that was going to anchor me in truth.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Listen, because where I am fighting this thought or this feeling that I'm not enough, I needed something that was telling me that I was.
Ooh. And
my parents, I felt, were obligated to tell me. You have to tell me No, you're beautiful. You're supposed to tell me that, mama. Thank you, but you're supposed to, is what I thought. I didn't realize other people didn't have that type of relationship with their parents. But that's another story. But I needed something else that was telling me that this isn't all that life has to offer. And for me, that was faith. When it says that I am worthy because he is worthy. And I was like, well, what does that look like? What does that mean? Then how do I fight this feeling that I'm not worthy enough? And honestly, it was simply trusting and believing in what I knew or I was becoming to know as truth. And again, that goes back to like the dirt road, those grooves that have been made and making new ones. So it was a daily, sometimes a moment by moment process. I can't do that. Miesha, we're fighting this. We're fighting this. You can do this. You can get past this. You can heal from this. People have done it. You can do it. And sometimes I don't know that I can do something until I'm forced to have to figure out that I can. I don't want to hear from somebody that I can heal if they've never had to heal from something. I mean, it's like let me tell you first. I'm not going to be I'm no one to talk about anybody's marital advice. I'm not married. I'm not married. I can't. I can theorize with you. I can speculate based on what I see on TV shows and Friends. But personally, I can't tell you how to sustain a marriage. I've never done it. And it's also being able to connect with people who know what they don't know also. When you got people who are know-it-alls, oh, well, all you have to do is this and all you have to do is this. Then how did you fail? What was a moment when what you tried to do didn't work and you had to figure something else out? If their answer is never, stop following that person.
Stop following that person. Because what got you here won't get you there. And obviously they are not aware.
And so I say for a lot of people, if what you want to experience is healing, then allow yourself to be real about the hurt so that you can actually heal. If you want to be a chef, you got to make some terrible meals to know how to help someone get past that stage in that season.
Yeah.
Even when we look at people that we think have arrived and we start getting these documentaries and these backstories, look at the Jackson 5. One of my, Tina Turner, love her story. Well, when I watched What's Love Got to Do with It, it took me a long time to not look at those actors as those actual characters. And what she said, I don't want nothing that you gave me. Just I just want my name. I just want who I've created myself to be. I just want my name. You can have the fame. You can have the records. You can have the money. I just want me. But we know now that we can get past that because she told her story. Because she told her story. And then people were able to see her story and to see that movie and to think for themselves, maybe I can too. Forget wanting to be a musical artist. Maybe I can believe in myself and get out of this toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe I can create for myself a name that I know I identify with.
Yeah. Like to your point, like story is everything. You know, having those people who you have watched and who you admire and who you even aspire to be, watching them turn pain into purpose. Like that, when we started A Journey Worth Traveling, not the podcast, but the docuseries, that's what it was all about, was these ordinary people doing extraordinary things and watching them turn pain into purpose, being in like the lowest spaces of their life and how they were able to find darkness, how they were able to find light in that darkness. And so when all these things started happening to me, I had those stories to go back to. I had those stories to act as this staff for me. And so when the carjacking happened, and then I go on this LCA, you realize that so many material things, just all this stuff can be lost in a Chicago December night. But the thing they couldn't take away from me,
that's right.
The thing they couldn't steal, that's right, was me. I went on that LCA. They couldn't take that purpose away. They couldn't take those experiences away. That was mine. That was mine.
And the beautiful thing about it is that you know that because you went through that. And this is by no means, I really want to tread lightly here, because this is not to say that you deserve to go through some of the things that you went through. People have been molested and abused, people carjacked and had other traumatic experiences. And what I do not want to say was you deserve that. What I will say is that you have an opportunity to use that and repurpose it to be a part of the story of you becoming who you are.
Yes. You're not responsible for all the things that have happened to you, but you are responsible.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. And it is beautiful. It's a very beautiful story. It's a very beautiful story because it is, I believe that we have purpose to make impact in this world. There's a passage of scripture that says that we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. To overcome something, to triumph over something, and to help someone else to do it is by the word of our testimony. And all a testimony is a story of triumph. That means that I wasn't in a place, I was in a place of destruction. I was in a place of loss, and I won. Let me tell you how. And when we're able to tell that story, then that is what begins to motivate people. When the pursuit of happiness, that's a story of triumph. We watched him from the bottom get to the top, then that gave hope to people. And I always say that I heard another person say that we have to learn how to embrace the spectacularly mundaneness of everyday life, because it's spectacular. Sometimes it's the same thing over and over again. He time and time again went to try and present his case, trying to get somebody to listen to him, and had closed door after closed door, no after no. But he himself, he's like, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're not going to give it to me, somebody else will. And if somebody else not going to give it to me, then I'll have to find a way to make it happen. But I know this is what I'm supposed to do. I know this is who I'm supposed to be. And when you know that, let's go back to what's love got to do with it and Tina Turner. As you can tell, I love movies.
Yeah, you do.
There was a moment.
There's been some homework assignments. Watch this movie.
Listen.
And let me know what you got from it.
Let me know. And tell me why you think I had you watch this movie.
Exactly.
But there's a scene where he's trying everything to get her just off of her rocker. And she has this, because she became a Buddhist, and she has this chant that she would just say over and over again. And it was her anchoring moment. It was like, you got all of this noise, literal noise going around me, trying to distract me, trying to get me off the course that I've set for myself. And she would just, this is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And sometimes that's all we got.
Yep.
That's all we got. And that has to be enough. And you have to be committed to that in order to get to where it is that you are trying to go.
Yes, that is the perfect segue into my next question. What does our environment, like what does the actual environment need to look like? Or where can one obtain just some of the best moments? How do you access like that self-discovery?
This is going to be just as unique as an individual.
Okay.
Because there is no set, like do A, B, C, and D. And that's what we want.
Yeah.
Tell me, A, B, C, D, boom, this is what I get.
Yeah.
Honestly, there isn't an easy answer for that, because that comes with the process of self-discovery.
Yeah.
But some things I would say to be mindful of, and it comes back to, where is a place where you feel safe to be you?
Yes. Oh, I love that. Pen drop. Grab it. Where is a place that you feel safe to be you?
And that's going to look different for people.
Why is that so important?
Because when we feel safe, then we can truly experience the moment. If I get on a plane and I'm worried about whether or not my pilot is capable, I can't rest. I might not even get on the plane. Do we know? Does he have the credentials? I'm worried. I'm scared. But if I trust and I feel safe, then I can relax. I can maybe take a nap. I can enjoy. I can look out the window and see the clouds pass. I can enjoy the experience. And that alleviates from me the pressure of needing to make sure that everything is going to be okay. I'm trusting the process. And so if I feel safe in this environment, and again, that's going to look different for people. For some people, that is completely alone in a new space. For others, it's in a familiar auditorium where they used to perform. For somebody else, it might be in a room full of people that are like learning or studying. I feel safe in this space to be myself, because I'm also most likely surrounded around people who are either striving for the same thing, have obtained the thing that I'm striving for, or support me in what it is that I'm trying to do. I got a sister that is in nursing school right now.
Okay, sis.
Listen, she's got 2 kids.
Okay.
One special needs kid. She has to trust that the people that she leaves her kids with are going to protect them and love on them and serve them the way that they need to, so she can be at rest and at peace to pursue some of the things that she's trying to do.
Mm-hmm. One of the places or just spaces where I feel like I've had the greatest just moments of self-discovery, or where I've really allowed for that work to take place, is in solitude. And so that's why we went to the island of self-discovery, specifically this one where you can see it's alone. It's by itself. It don't got nothing. It's just surrounded by water. Because I feel like when you're able to remove like all of the distractions, all of the external noise, and you're able to be by yourself, that is when you're able to discover just so much about yourself. You're really able to go inward. And I remember, so when I was on this trip, and one of the activities that I did, right? I don't know if I shared this with you. Maybe I did. I don't know. Okay, so one of the activities that I did, I was in the monastery. I went to the monastery. And so it was this Buddhist monastery, and we had to meditate. Like, it was a meditation retreat. Let me tell you what we could not do. So we could not have our phones, no internet. We could not have music. There was no reading. There was no writing. There was no talking.
Wow.
It was just listening. It was just meditating. And I remember, so a couple of weeks before then, I did another retreat. It was this whole like rebirthing experience. I was like, okay, like new you, girl. Okay. Then I get to this meditation retreat where all the external things are just removed from my life, right? And I'm having to go completely inward. And in going completely inward, what I was not expecting was like this flood of things that I thought had been completely eradicated a couple of weeks ago to come rushing back. And now I'm having to deal with it. Now I'm having to unthread things and everything like that. And what it taught me, obviously, was like life is such a tending to process. But really, I had to go to that self-talk and that God talk. To your point, like when I asked you, where are you, like what has been one of like your greatest sorters? And you say, I had to go to God. In that moment, absolutely. Like for me, I mean, in life, absolutely. But specifically, it was like, okay, the way I had to kind of get myself out of that, the way I had to untangle what was happening in my mind was self-talk and God talk. But it's just so much in that kind of like isolation and that solitude that I think you permit yourself to be able to discover about you. And now I'm able to create the solutions. Now I'm starting to know, okay, this is what's triggering me. And now I'm able to create solutions that are going to serve me.
Absolutely. And I think solitude is a really wonderful place that we should visit often. And then it was in my place of solitude that I realized that not only was I afraid of other people, and we talk about that pivotal moment, but I was also afraid of God. I was afraid of not being enough for him and not being enough. If I'm if I'm fully transparent, I did not think that there was anyone beyond who was supposed to, like required to love me, that would love me, including God. And when I came to the end of myself, when the most, what I thought was going to be the most tragic thing that ever happened to me was to think I was in love, to only to find out that I was not. Because to me, that meant a lot to me. It was something wrong that I had did. That was the way my survival had kicked in. You did something wrong. You got to figure it out. And again, I was on this discovery. I was just stepping into this faith journey. And all I had known was that God had a whole bunch of laws and rules, and people just keep messing up and just won't get it right. And he's just consistently frustrated with people. That's what religion looked like. I got to dress a certain way. I got to speak a certain way. There's certain things I cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't know, and what I had to discover, and which was part of this whole self-discovery thing, was that there are people who have tried to replace God in my life. They tried to be the ones to tell me what I could and could not do. But when I went to God, like for myself, I was just like, okay, who are you? Okay, just who are you? And he's like, I am the lover of your soul. My life passage is in Songs of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 16.8. And it says, I am my beloved and he is mine.
Mm.
That's it.
That's
he calls me beloved and I am his and he is mine. That's it. That's it. And that's when he said, I'm the lover of your soul. And it spoke to everything that I was in conflict with. Am I lovable? He says, yes. Not only do I love you, I love your soul. Was I worthy enough? I loved you before you even knew that love from me was possible. And even as I've gotten older, I've been able to taste little bits and pieces of this. I have a niece and nephew, I told you. I love them with every fiber of my being. There's nothing, I can get frustrated with them. I can get sad that they don't see certain things within themselves. But baby, I'm not enough. I said, don't you
Come out.
Ever. Let me hear you utter those words again. Let me tell you, you are enough. You are more than enough. And I love that I get to just pour that out on them. Because I remember when I didn't. And I remember how important it is to know that.
Absolutely.
And I was able to know that because I had experienced not having that.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to being authentic and honest with yourself, with where you're coming from.
Yes.
I'm coming from a place of doubt. I'm coming from a place of fear. I'm going to need help to learn what that looks like so that I can get to the place I'm trying to go.
Yeah. What do those tools look like? Like, is that showing up in therapy? Is that showing up in you writing? Like, what are some of the tools that we can deploy in that space, in that exploration?
And that's the beauty of discovery. Because for some people, it is going to show up in therapy. From others, it's going to take selling everything they have and driving across country.
Yeah.
And figuring that out for themselves. Or going to a whole nother country for some months and just living.
Yeah.
From others, it's going to require them going back and having really difficult conversations. You hurt me in a really deep way. But I've released you from that hurt. I've released myself from that hurt, and I'm moving on. It is literally discovering who you are, and there isn't a manual for that. And that's something that we look for, and that's the most frustrating part about self-discovery.
Yeah.
Because no one can tell you how to do it for you.
Yeah.
I can give you suggestions. I can give you tools. Even the things that you were taking, it was just like, there were some things that you realized, wow, it would have been really great if I had this. But you didn't know that until you got there.
Right. This is true. That's so true. What are your thoughts on meditation?
I think it's a really great way to control our thoughts. When we are very intentional and consistent about what we tell ourselves, we can then recognize when other thoughts and other words or commentary enter into our mind that is not what we're doing. If I'm telling myself I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy of love, and then there's a fleeting thought that says, but you don't deserve this. I don't have to receive, accept that, and allow that to take root in my heart. because I've been meditating on truth that I am worthy.
On truth, yeah.
And so I'm able to reject that thought, even if that thought is my own voice.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like how it was explained too is like meditation is this really just great way to be able to tap into the operating system. Because again, you're having to go into this space of solitude. You're removing all of the distractions. And in doing that, you're able to tap into that operating system. And I think that's one of the things, like even throughout this entire conversation, you kept going back to is this self-talk. Like I kept hearing you in all these spaces, or all these seasons that you were in, you kept checking in with Miesha. Like I just kept hearing you say, Miesha, Miesha. Like you kept checking in with yourself. And I think that's so important. Like when I was preparing for this trip, and I was like, okay, what I recognized in preparation of it is that number one, like with any relationship, when you think about like your greatest relationship, like your relationship with your sister, you probably call her, you be like, hey, like, how's it going? How can I support you today? You need the kids to be picked up. What can I do for you? But like, how often are we doing that for ourselves? Are we doing that? How often are we marinating on those questions? Like, how are you doing, Kat? How are you doing, Miesha? Like, what can I do to support you in this moment? And I realized you haven't been dating yourself all that well, Catherine, lately. I've been pouring so much into the podcast. I haven't necessarily been checking in with myself. I haven't necessarily been asking myself the questions that I need to ask to ensure that Kat is really just being in this space, being in a more intentional space of self-care. I be getting home at 2 o'clock sometimes. I don't even want to take a shower. And I'm like, dang. So what you saying to yourself? Are you saying that you are not worthy to decompress and take a shower? Like, what are we saying about, what are we saying about self? And one of the greatest questions that you had me think about, it's been many, but this is one that I love. And I do it often, but not often enough, if that makes sense. You said, what can I add to this moment for myself to make this moment better? Like, what does that look like? And it could be as simple as me turning on Maxwell, turning on Janet in a moment. It could be as simple as, like, I don't know, me going to get me a coffee, whatever that looks like for you. However you can enhance something or give yourself something in this moment to enhance the moment. That's self-care. That's self-love.
Absolutely. And when we are on this journey, it is in those moments. And again, that's taking that risk, taking that step, not giving in to fear to try something different that are the most memorable for us.
What happens when we get off course? How are we getting ourselves back?
This is going to be helpful with the people that are around you. They serve as the Surrey to the maps that when we are following the plan, when we put in our GPS, I'm going to someplace. When you get off course, it tells you redirecting, rerouting. The people that are around you should be able to tell you. Let's talk about the accountability that I say, like me wanting to get a bit more active and lose a few of these pounds, Although, yes, you're right. I do look fabulous.
You do, queen. You do, queen, my age.
But with the people that I've surrounded myself with, when they call, and they're going to check in because these are the type of people I've surrounded myself with. So, what did you do today? Girl, I didn't do absolutely nothing. I just sat on the couch. Netflix came out with a new show, a new season, and I just didn't. Then they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, is it a good show?
Yeah.
Or, oh, okay, so are you doing something later today? What's tomorrow looking like? You know what? I was thinking of walking around the track. Why don't you come and join me? There's a beautiful video of a man who's running a marathon. He's running a marathon, and he's so close to the end. He's so close to the end, but he begins to cramp up in his leg, and he is like, He's getting ready to give up. And somebody on the sideline comes up next to him and begins running alongside him. And it's like, come on, you can do this. Look at the finish line. You see it? Look at the finish line. You can do this. You can go. And people were like, oh, wow, he made it to the end. And I said, pause, everybody. Because of that man himself, who was serving as the support and accountability, was unfit. He couldn't have run alongside him to continue encouraging him to go forward.
Yes.
Because that couldn't have been me.
That part.
Because I'm not a runner. I'd have been like, wow, keep going.
On the sidelines.
On the sidelines. From the TV, from my couch. Keep going. But he knew that not only can I help him, it's because I'm fit.
Yes.
The people that are around you, if they aren't on track or at least able to do what it is that you're trying to do, they can't help you.
Yeah. How we finding these good friends?
Yeah, go to good places.
Ooh, I like that. There we go. There was it. That was it. Go to good places.
Go to good places.
Go to good places.
Again, if I'm looking for people that have entrepreneurial research, where are the retreats for entrepreneurs? Go and just introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Make yourself uncomfortable. Humble yourself.
Yeah.
How did you get here? I can't find that at the club.
Yeah. You can find it here though. You can to your point, that was one of the reasons why community. So fuel is one of the pillars in terms of what we want to extend, but community is too, because you need to have those people that are tracking with you in an upward trajectory. It is so essential. It is vital because you so beautifully laid out to us, at the end of the day, when I don't have it, I need somebody, I need that person to maybe give me that extra push or give me that encouragement. But that person can only do so if they know what it looks like, what it feels like.
When we talk about the community of people, and again, in the example that I use, I didn't do anything today, I was on Netflix. People are going to push me. If I'm only around people who say yes to everything that I'm doing, yes to everything that I've said, he told me that I needed to humble myself, and I said, well, humble this, and I hung up the phone, and it's like, yes, queen, yeah. But what I want is a relationship, a healthy relationship. It's like, wow, and how does that help you get to healthy relationship status? Well, he just not gonna tell me what I'm gonna do, and he was like, so who can? I need you to come back to the question at hand.
Yeah.
If the goal is I want to be in a healthy, growing relationship, then that also means I need to be healthy and willing to grow myself. Yeah. And I need people around me who are telling me when I'm not on track with where I say I want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
If everybody was like, well, yeah, forget him, blah, 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 I'm going to be single with the rest of my single friends. And there's nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong if I'm not looking for a relationship. That's great. That's why it's important to establish the goal.
Yeah.
What's the goal?
Establish the goal. And that is you can only truly establish the goal if you know yourself. Absolutely. If you know where you're going, it goes all back to being in the space of self-discovery and self-exploration. So there was one thing that you said that I loved, and I want to pick that up really quickly. You talked about your niece and your nephew. And you talked about how you are supporting them on their journey. And so I want to ask, for the mothers, the fathers, the aunties, the uncles, the friends out there, when it comes to our babies, when it comes to that younger generation, how do we show up? How are we supporting them to ensure that they are in a great space and just being on this journey at a young age of self-discovery and exploration?
Lead by example. They will know.
There it is.
What they should and should not accept based on what you show them and what you speak into them. And we're not perfect. We are not perfect people.
Listen, you don't understand. Lead by example.
Yeah. I can't tell you, my father, he has since changed this, but my father used to say, do the things that I do, do the things that I tell you, not the things that I do. And I was like, that's so, and when I was younger, it was law. Daddy said it was law. But as I got older, I was like, that was a bunch of bull. And he know it. And we got a great relationship now. I'd be like, that was a bunch of bull and you know it. Because if I'm watching you, I'm watching you work really hard, then I'm assuming I got to work really hard. I'm watching you really protect your peace, then I'm going to know what it looks like to protect peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's going to help me discover, okay, well, TT or mommy, when she has a moment, she just says, okay, she cuts off everything and we just sit and we just talk.
Yeah.
And that's so great. And also understanding that your children are not robots. They're living people. They aren't just out to do what you tell them to do. Otherwise, they're not going to learn how to speak for themselves. And so I love being able to, now don't get me wrong, my niece can't just say anything that she wants to. Okay?
You be gentle parenting?
Okay. Gentle yet firm. Take that what you will. But when she's upset, when she's frustrated by something, I say, I see that you're frustrated about something. You ready to talk about it now? No, TT, I need a moment. I said, okay, I'll check back in with you in 10 minutes. I said, we can take as much time as you want, but we will talk about this because we won't just leave it like this.
Oh, I love that.
And so I don't you're going to tell me what's going on now. I'm not ready to tell you what's going on now because I don't really know what's going on now. And then I grow up to think when someone confronts me, I have to have an answer now. And so I don't learn how to advocate for myself and say, I don't really know what it is and I'm feeling right now. I need a moment.
Oh.
That comes from a young age. And so that's something I can instill in my niece and nephew. You're frustrated. I can see that. Yes. You want to talk about it? No. Do you need some time before we can talk about it? Because we're gonna need to talk about it so we don't stay in this place. Can you tell TT when you're ready? I'm going to check in with you in about 30 minutes, okay? Okay. In 30 minutes. Now, was that enough time for you? What did you think about during that time? How did you arrive at what you are telling me right now?
Yeah.
What do we do different? And it tells her you're human and you can feel. It tells her you don't always have to have the answer. And it tells her it's okay.
I hope people are writing this down.
But it also tells her that it's okay to figure it out because that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And when I'm making sure that I'm doing that for myself as a demonstration to her, I can also help cultivate and invest that in her life so that when she's running around on the playground and other people are telling her this is what we're going to do, she knows enough about herself at that age to say, I don't really want to do that. And that's okay.
And that's okay. Oh, yes. Oh, I hope everyone got that. I hope everyone got that. But I track with you in terms of like, does it lead by example? Because when it, like with my mom, I think I call her, I hope she don't mind being compared to a horse, but she is a thoroughbred. Like she really is. Like she is my thoroughbred. But what's so amazing is like, she's absolutely been this great example. It's one of the reasons why my relationship with God is the way it is, because I didn't have hypocrisy tainting my image of God. I had this God-fearing woman who was, the person who I was seeing every single day, and I was watching how she was navigating life and how she was shining her light. And so you go back to like that whole just like the dissonance. I didn't have that. I didn't have that dissonance where it's like, well, she's telling me to believe in God, but when the way she's showing up, it doesn't seem all that godly. Leading by example is so important. It's so important because this is one of my favorite lines. But I really believe that it is nurture. It's not nature. And I get that some things have to do with nature. I get that. But I think the core of things or the majority of something can be overwritten by nurture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you are able to lead by example, you also get to see the mistakes that people make. It takes away this unrealistic goal of being perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you can resign yourself to say, I'm not going to be perfect, but I'm going to be the best version of me, we can go places.
Absolutely. Miesha, I feel like we have arrived, okay, at a place. I hope y'all got something. I hope y'all enjoyed this trip of going to the island of self-discovery. I know I did. I got a whole notebook over here full of stuff, okay? What are we telling J. Crew? What are we saying to them if maybe they're deciding what self-exploration, if they want to self-explore, maybe they're a little fearful, maybe they're a little afraid to go on that exploration. Maybe they're on the climb and they're like, oh, this is work, okay. Maybe they've got a little bit out of alignment. Like, what are we saying? How are we encouraging them in this moment?
Is that I think just really wanting to say that you are worth it. I don't have to know you. I don't have to know your story. I don't have to know your circumstances to know that you're worth it. If you haven't heard it from anyone else, if you haven't, let me look at the camera. If you haven't heard it from anyone else, if you haven't said it to yourself in a really long time, hear it from me. You are worth it.
You are worth it.
And because you are worth it, every sacrifice, every trial, every tribulation, every setback is merely stepping stones to where you ultimately will be. And that is very determinant upon whether or not you are willing to take that step. It takes one step after another.
Oh, thank you, Miesha. I'm a piggyback off of Miesha, and I'm just going to let you know that your journey is absolutely worth traveling. You owe it to yourself. You deserve it for yourself. Keep going. There is something on the other side. If you happen to be in a valley, if you're on that climb, I know it's difficult, but every single step is building up strength, and you are going to love the view when you get to the top. You are going to love it, and you are not going to regret it. Miesha, where can they find you? Where can they find you?
Oh my goodness.
Tell me. How can they? I mean,
you don't call me off guard.
I want to share. I want to share.
Go right ahead.
No, I'm saying I want to share you. I want to share you.
Okay,
so where can they find you?
All right. Wow. I'm sure that I can give you like my email address.
We'll put it.
There we go.
We'll put it in the description below so they can reach out to you. But yes, she is an incredible spiritual being. She has sorted me, and I hope that she has sorted you as we went to the island of self-discovery. Thank you, Miesha, so much for being with me here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an amazing, amazing time.
Thank you. And J. Crew, until our next trip, peace and blessings. Thank you, Miesha! Thank you, Miesha!